Welcome back, Team UWC. It's your boy TWP Popcorn. You already know what time it is. 10 a.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday, 6 p.m. Wednesday, aka another day in paradise. How y'all doing today? Good to see y'all. Hopefully you're smoking something good. If not, get you that consultation. Shouts out to the Buy Me a Coffee. You can always book a session with your boy. We can get you in the game and figure out how to get you on a better level than the one you're at, right? Shouts out to leveling up because that's what the goals is always about. Let's see, we 37 seconds into the video, so I can go ahead and start being my full self because they have a certain percentage that they watch at first for the ads, so then they can place the ads in the video. Shouts out to YouTube for being a business because teaches you how to be on top of yours. Anyways, let's go ahead, get to our playlist, worry about some videos, then I'll come back and kick it with y'all here in a minute, right? Right. Y'all know to go check out this Super Saturday video we did over on Spider Pig. It was a good video, so y'all know to go check it out.
Mr. Nice Guy was blowing up, man. We got customers from all over New York. We even stole a few from Samson.
Oh, what's up, nigga? Come on in, Mike. Come on, Wink, Mike. Thanks, baby. Get on. Peter, don't get scared.
Yeah. What can I get you today, Smoky Lot?
Lovely. Let me get a pound of your Swedish cheeba.
Some told me to bring a lot of weed, man. Yeah. Pound of my Swedish Chiba. Don't get no better than that.
Slam to the bag, baby.
This gonna be $9,600, bro.
See what I got here. Come on, man. Hang out for a minute smoking me. I got weed, got my bong out. Come on, son.
For you, man, I'll stay for a minute, but then I gotta be going. And man, Smoke a Lot opened up to me like I was Barbara Walters. It was ridiculous. He told me about his lawyer.
He had sex with my mama. Why?
Spirituality.
God, if you listen, help!
His bad back.
Doctor said I need a backiotomy.
His love life.
I'm in for this, man. Get away from me, bitch.
I mean, talk about a guy with problems. Tough break.
I can't take it too far.
No wonder he smoked a pound a week.
Somebody want it.
So now we had a famous clientele, and
Green Eye's gonna miss you.
guess what else?
Call me next week. About weed. About weed.
Yo, drop the charges, set the timer, race the clock, I'm the death-defier. Snitch and tell, never sitting well from a test of fire, it's a test of fire. Inhale the smoke, it gets me higher. Put a bullet hole in your breast, supply your eye, contemplate your constant state of constipation, non-debate, forget the fiber, whoa. Now I'm making moves, I don't write the rules, I just light the fuse. You got a right to choose, despite the news. If you don't like the food, then don't bite and chew. I'm certified, deep in the fight, reaching the heights you aspire to. A murder mics, now I'm serving life. You gotta earn a stripe just to wipe the shoe. My nerves are numb, I burst your lung. It's the vibe that made me feel kinda crazy. Now I'm burning time, searching for funds. Work's never done, till they trying to pay me like I'm the baby, not the mama. I wanna see you bust it down, Tatiana. Pop the llama, don't stop the drama till we charge the fucking cop to shop Rihanna. No peace.
On high-potency THC products.
High-potency marijuana products.
High-potency products.
These new next-gen products that come in all shapes and forms. Like Wax or Shatter, now available. They're sold in fruity flavors and have levels of THC 8 times higher than the pot of 20 years ago.
20, 30 years ago, a typical potency of a marijuana product would be about 7%. The typical potency for a THC product today is minimum 20%. Absolutely, tremendously more potent product.
I see stories like this all the time that warn of the dangers of these new high-potency products. But these things aren't actually new at all, and one of the most potent live extracts has actually been around for centuries. Just 2 hands and a lot of hard work made an ancient plant extract that was very pure and potent. It was used to honor a god, and it was very similar to some of the best stuff we have today. This is the crazy story of Charas.
And for the YouTube police, this video is for educational purposes and does not promote the sale or use of anything. We are just looking at some crazy history about cool plants. Back when I first joined the cannabis industry, these places I was working for had all kinds of extracts that I had never even seen before in the South. A lot of this stuff was new to me, and some of these concentrates looked insane compared to the stuff I was used to seeing. Plus, the extraction labs looked so complex and high-tech to me before I really learned what was going on, and it all just felt like a new boom of plant extracts that was like far above and beyond anything we had ever seen before. And it seems like ever since then, I've been seeing tons of news reports that try to warn us about all the dangers of these brand new products that we've never even seen before.
So the research is using terminology like rapid addiction potential for these higher potent drugs.
But these things aren't actually new at all. And some of the most potent live extracts, called charas, are some of the oldest concentrates on the planet. Hashish, and really all cannabis concentrates, are not a modern invention at all. The first written history of hashish actually dates back to the 10th century, and by the 11th century, people were being recorded as eating hashish, and then dry sifting techniques started popping up all throughout the 14th and 15th century. So this is like really, really old school stuff. But that's just the written history that we for sure know about. But people have been using these plants since way before the 10th century, and they were most likely using concentrates way before then too, especially charas. Charas is intentionally made by gently rubbing the tops of flowering plants between your hands and letting the oil stick to your fingers and palms. And then you just scrape it off and roll it into a little log or a ball, and then you're done. It's really easy, but it's really effective. So if you've ever touched a super sticky plant that was still growing and you got that resin on your fingertips, it's the same thing. Just imagine if you did that like a million times until it was super thick on your hands. There are some tricks to get great results, but it really is that easy. You just rub the plants in your hands. So since this was so easy to do, and it didn't require any tools or any previous knowledge, and it could just happen really to any farmer who's just handling the plants that he grows. Like you're just out there in your field touching the plants, and then your hands get sticky, and you're like, oh, what's this stuff? And since it is really that easy to make charas, it's believed that mankind was using this stuff for many centuries before it was ever written about, probably just by eating it at first. Experts believe that the tradition of charas started in the Himalayan regions of India and Nepal, where the high humidity made it very hard to use other much more efficient methods like dry sifting. Dry sifting would have got much more from these plants, and it would have been much easier to do. But in these super humid regions, nothing ever really got dry enough to really do dry sifting. And when I say dry sifting would have been much easier, I do mean much easier. I've actually made charas before, and it takes forever. Many years ago, I was in South Colorado doing a harvest on some outdoor plants.
What up,
there
beat
was
after
a
beat?
2-acre field of really
Appreciate
nice plants. These were not hemp plants
Go
at
check
all.
him
These were
out
straight
coming up
regular
on
weed plants.
Tuesday.
And they were all
We'll
going
be
to
having
be
tacos,
made into live
titties,
resin.
and
Go figure. Because
anything
of
else you can give away.
grown. But this was hours away from Denver, where my job was actually located. So the company was supposed to be buying us a hotel and doing all of this stuff for us. And when we got there, we realized that the hotel we had was really bad. And like all of the per diem promises and everything they made to us just turned out to be a lie. So this whole crew of us working, we were pretty upset. And then we get to the field to start working, and they let us know that, hey, we actually can't harvest these plants right now because we don't have all of our cameras set up. We were outside, but we still had to have every part of the harvest and like post-processing on camera for the state. So they're like, y'all do whatever you want. You can hang out in the field, catch some hours. If you want to like pull leaves, you can go back to the hotel. You can go back to Denver if you're going to quit your job. I know y'all are mad. So now I'm just in this field, 2 acres of fully grown plants. They're real nice plants. They smell amazing. And I'm just going through pulling fan leaves, getting ready for the harvest, catching some hours. And while I'm working, one of my gloves break, and I go to get another one, but the gloves are like way back at the farmhouse. It's going to take me 15 minutes to walk over there. So I just keep going. I just keep working, and my hand just starts getting insanely sticky. And I'm like, hold up. You know what? This company, they lied to us, they did us dirty. So I started thinking like a bad employee. But I was like, you know what, Matt, you're in a field of fresh plants. You're touching every one of them. This might be your only chance ever in the world to make some fresh charas. When else am I going to be able to do this? So I took my other glove off, and as I'm going through, I like use my fingertips to pull fan leaves, and then I would use my palms to just gently rub the top of a couple of colas on every plant. I know I was molestering the plants in the field. That's not good. I shouldn't have done this. Again, I was trying to like have a good day despite being shit on. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But also these plants
that's
were
what's
going
up,
to be
B.
extracted, and so
Getting
it's
your
not like
networking
anybody was
on, I
ever
see
going
you've
to
been
get a
taking some
plant that
notes.
had less trichomes on it
Yeah, we gotta
because
get
I
you more
touched
views
it with
over
my
there.
hands.
Hell, that's
But
what
I
it
just
takes.
went
Drop
through
your
this
link
field
anywhere you got
all
a
morning
wrench.
long, from 7 a.m. to
Then they'll
12
get you
p.m.
more
all of the
supporters because
first
you're
half
doing
of
your
the
own
day. And
promotionals.
by 12 p.m., I touched
Welcome to the
hundreds of
pimping game,
plants.
partner.
Gave them all one of these. These are modern day cultivars too, with tons of trichomes. These aren't like the old school plants you might be thinking of. And even after all of that work, I was only able to scrape off a very, very thin log from each hand. If I could have like cut these plants down and dried them out first, it would have been much easier to collect the concentrate from them. But even though this ancient charas wasn't nearly as efficient as a lot of other methods, and even though it required a lot of hard work,
Big
it
homie,
did have
what
some
up,
really
DJ is?
huge benefits. And the first huge benefit is that you have a double harvest, pretty much, because you don't have to harvest your plants before you harvest this charas. Some people will cut the plant down before they make the charas, but this isn't the traditional way, and it's not required at all. So that means if these old farmers had these huge fields of plants, they could go out there and spend a couple days rubbing them and collecting charas. Now they've just harvested a bunch of concentrate from these plants, but the plants are still there. They're still growing. They still have trichomes on them. And if you did this to your plants like a few weeks before they were ready to harvest, these trichomes have a lot of time to like help regenerate and grow back. And sure, the end plant might not have been quite as potent because they took the charas off first, but hey, 2 harvests. Can't complain about that. And unlike the hashish you may be familiar with, charas is made from living plants. And the fact that these plants are still alive leads us right into the next huge benefit of charas. Since the resin was being collected from live plants instead of dried plants, none of the cannabinoids or terpenes had been lost in the drying process. So charas would have all of the flavors and effects the original plant had to offer, just like it did when it was still growing. And this made charas much more flavorful and much more potent, but it also meant that this had much more potential as an herbal medicine. This was basically a full spectrum live resin that was being made thousands of years ago. But charas was much more than just a medicine. Charas isn't just really potent and medicinal, but it's also deeply tied to community, cultural traditions, and even religion. In remote Himalayan villages, charas is a vital part of local traditions that have been passed down through many generations. In Hinduism, charas is considered sacred, and it's often used in ceremonies honoring the god Shiva, who is the master of fertility, poison, and medicine, and is famously associated with cannabis. During the festival of Shivarati, many people use charas in clay chillums as a sacrament to Shiva. And that's a really cool and interesting part of history that we need to cover in its very own video. But not all charas were created the same. Different regions of the world all produced very unique types of charas because of the differences in climates, different cultivars, and different growing and hand rubbing techniques. Each area's distinct environment influenced the plant's qualities, resulting in charas that vary greatly in flavor, potency, and even texture. And one famous example of this are temple balls from Nepal. Temple balls earned their reputation in the 60s and 70s for their exotic, spicy flavor and potent medicinal and psychoactive effects. These little balls of charas became really popular with people on what was known as the hippie hash trail, which is just this long route that some people were traveling to look for great new cultivars and ancient cannabis traditions. But that isn't the only well-known charas, because we also have great charas from Kashmir. In Kashmir, the charas produced in the valleys is known for its distinct aroma and flavor too, which are different from the stuff grown in Nepal because of the specific cultivars that were being grown there. Kashmiri charas was also very potent and medicinal, but it stood out for its unique, deep, earthy stank. And probably the most praised charas is known as Malana cream, or just the cream. And it's named after the place it originated, a village called Malana in India's Parvati Valley. Malana cream was highly sought after for its high oil content and potency. And what makes it really different and special is that it's made from a blend of different phenotypes, or even different cultivars. This mix creates a complex layering of flavors and effects that made every single batch of Malana cream unique.
See the different phenotypes here? That's why you never get the same cream or charas in this whole area in India.
No, it's variation. You get the sweet, you get the minty, you get I get many.
I can make a bowl now when you're finished.
So it's a full plant live extract, but unlike most full plant live extracts, the cream is made from all kinds of different cultivars, from all kinds of different areas. There's all kinds of different flavors, all kinds of different cannabinoids, and every single time you made it, it's all different because farmers are just going around rubbing different plants in their whole area. They're just hitting up all the farms and mixing all of this stuff together. So there would be like hundreds or maybe even thousands of different terpene and cannabinoid profiles in the same batch of charms. And even though this stuff doesn't look like anything modern, it is basically just a very old way to make full spectrum live extracts, which is still to this day some of the very best plant medicine we have. And it's one of the most potent things available to patients. So when you hear all these warnings about these brand new high potency extracts and stuff, these things are not brand new at all. A lot of people just don't realize that things like this have actually been around for a very long time. And many modern plant extracts are made with big machines or flammable solvents. But live resins and rosins that are even better than ancient charas can be made with just plain ice water. And I'm going to show you exactly how that works in this video. I just poured this whole huge bag of flour into some ice water with no idea what was going to happen and just hoped for the best. So if you want to see how that turned out, make sure you watch this video. And if you want to see some more videos about Shiva or the hippie hash trail, make sure you subscribe. See you soon. Peace.
Shout out to Giggle Bean Co. because I don't know if people who are watching are noticed, but Giggle Bean Co. is carving the lane, and it's a good one. It's a good way to put yourself in front of people. Everything is going on. I really like it. I like Giggles. Giggles is cool.
She's a great person. Her and Sam are just really good people.
Beautiful heart.
She said she took over everything. All the time.
I actually grown the genetics that he was doing in the giveaway from Giggle Bean Company. Shouts out to them because, you know, I still had 33 degrees as one of the actual plants that are in my green room at the moment. Which one it is, I'm not sure. I'll have to look and actually see based upon my notes on my flower structure and bud build on them. But, you know, I know which one it is whenever I smell it, at least. Because, you know, it's got a great taste to it. Shouts out to that 33 degrees from Giggle Bean Company. Go get them for free over on Higher Desert Exotic if you win them in a giveaway. Or, you know, just go ahead and get the reference and go buy them. Shouts out to y'all.
She has a way of just like wiggling in and being like, hi.
Every Friday on the Higher Desert Exotics podcast, we give away packs just like these from Giggle Bean Co. So if you'd like a chance to win, like some of our lucky winners, then come check us out at 6 p.m. on Fridays, Mountain Standard Time, for your chance.
Channel's one. Wow, that's Snoop Dogg, the Godfather. I hit that blunt, I'm going to see the Father. Damn, Earth was cool. Oh, this gas, 93 octane. God, take me now. Hey, Cooler, he got another one sparked already. He being unreasonable. This beyond me. If he think I'm finna hit that blunt again, heavens no, I'm high, bucko. I'm puzzled. I'm finna give it right back to him and tell him I hit it 10 times already. I'm finna call 911 and report an attempted murder. He keep passing me blunts. He think we in a relay race. What a bummer. I'm finna put this out, and if he asks why, I'm gonna tell him I'm allergic to marijuana. Weed for me stand for with each exhale, I'm about to die. He gotta knock it off. I done already took 2 blunts. He done sparked a 3rd one. Smoke monster. I'm finna play sleep. I'm comatose. Big fella, you took that blunt to the head. Now you finna be in the nearest hospital bed. This ain't the move. I'm finna scoot. He a different.
And noticing your plant doesn't look quite right? Hopefully this Tobacco University video can provide you a great visual guide to foliar symptoms of nutrient deficiencies in cannabis plants to help you identify the issue that might be going on. All right, let's get into the visual guide here of foliar symptoms and help provide you a diagnosis as well as a potential way to correct the issue. So first off, some of these images are based off the research article here. If you want to get into the research article in more detail, I provide the citation here so you can do so. Now, just some general reminders is that nutrient mobility in the plant, for mobile nutrients, they move to new growth areas. That means deficiency symptoms will first be seen in older leaves. In comparison to immobile nutrients that don't move to new growth, these deficiencies will be first seen in the newer growth regions of the plant. We're talking about classifying nutrients. Our primary nutrients are nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and they contribute to plant nutrient content, function of plant enzymes, and biochemical processes and integrity of plant cells. Your secondary nutrients are your calcium, your magnesium, and your sulfur, and these are needed in smaller amounts than the primary nutrients, leading us finally to micronutrients, which are necessary for plant survival, but are needed in very small micro quantities. When we look at fertilizers, chelated or chelated fertilizers are preferred since it will enhance nutrient uptake and improve efficiency and utilization. And the goal is plant available nutrients, and some of them also are better applied foliarly. So keep in mind, if you can find a chelated form of a nutrient, that is definitely the way to go. Now, nutrient classification is just providing you this table here. We look at our nutrients, whether it's a macro or a micro, the uptake form and chemical form and ions, its mobility in the plant and the soil. Again, focus, of course, on the plant mobility, but soil mobility can also play a factor into your odds that you see a deficiency or ways about going correcting it. So first off, looking at the study, we got to start with the control plant where there's no nutrient deficiencies. Looking at A, here's week 5, week 6, week 7, and then week 8. While in week 8, fan leaves developed increasing levels of foliar chlorosis. We can see that here and here. This is considered the control plant. So we're really looking at the inflorescence of the flowers, the fan leaves. Yes, we want to see them good, but here to the end, they're in good shape. And as a last reminder, we are looking at a plant, so there will be some variables. We can see here with the sunflowers. There's going to be some variability plant to plant. So I'm going to try to show you the major or the textbook images, if you will, that you should use for comparison.
Appreciate that.
So let's start with a nitrogen deficiency. So looking at here, A, we're looking at week 3, lower canopy foliar issue. Nitrogen deficiency, plants starting to yellow. It might be a little hard to see, but we're having a lightening of that green. And this will typically start in the lower leaves. We look at week 4. Looking at week 4, the progression of nitrogen deficiency symptoms of the fan leaves from mild, which is on the right, to the most severe, which is, of course, here on the left. Looking at C here, the whole leaf chlorosis developing in fan leaves, the lower 2/3 of the plant canopy. And then for week 5, almost the entire senescence of fan leaves, stem browning, yellowing, and beginning of sugar leaf chlorosis in nitrogen deficient plants. So a really advanced form of yellowing. So keep in mind, it might be a little hard to see here, but that lightening, that green, and different varieties will have different deepness to their green coloration. So you want to be aware of that. Now about correcting a nitrogen deficiency, and I'll do this for all the nutrients. Remember, it is a primary mobile nutrient. Use 100 to 120 parts per million of nitrogen fertilizers to target concentration. I have other videos that go about how to calculate that. Then your nitrates versus your nitrates. Remember, nitrates dissolve in water and therefore move about the soil with the movement of soil water. The nitrate stable, intermediate, and this is not able to be used by the plant. We can see that right here. Ammonia can be taken up by the plant, and nitrates can be moved, but nitrates cannot. We're also looking at ammonium, ammonia versus ammonium.
What up, Big D? Appreciate you stopping
has the
by.
highest nitrogen content of any commercial fertilizer, about 82% nitrogen. However, it is delivered as a gas. It needs to be injected about 4 to 8 inches, 10 to 20 centimeters below the surface. Here, it will react with soil water to form ammonium, which can be utilized by the plants. For other growers, calcium nitrate is recommended. There's blood meal, there's bat guano, and there's ureas that are also options. But with ureas, like nitrates, urea needs to dissolve in and move through water soil and can be lost through leaching if not converted to ammonia and then ammonium. This conversion of ammonia takes about 2 to 4 days when soil moisture and temperature are favorable for plant growth. Lower temperatures slow the process, which will continue down even to freezing because they need the microbes to be able to work that. So typically in outdoor applications, urea is recommended in those summer or warmer months. Calcium nitrate when it's cooler out. Calcium nitrate can be used throughout the entire season. Same with blood meal and bat guano. As just a last reminder, with nitrogen, it happens quick. So favor on the lower side, because you can always add more. It's hard to take away. Now looking at phosphorus deficiency here, brown spots on fan and sugar leaves. Looking here, week 3, progression of foliar phosphorus deficiency symptoms in the fan leaves. And then you can kind of see that progression here for week 4. And then we have week 5 driven by C as well as D, which is right below me. In E, we see the whole plant phosphorus deficiency symptoms. Sugar leaves associated with the apical inflorescence are shown in the insert. Now I will say overall I don't see a lot of this, so really scrutinize these images to see if this is actually a phosphorus deficiency you have going on, because of course there's other pathogens or other issues that could be occurring. So really scrutinize these images and see if that's really a good match for what you're seeing in your plant. Now, how do you deal with the phosphorus deficiency? How do you correct that? It is a primary mobile nutrient in the plant. It's generally immobile in the soil. So that's what we have to keep in mind, our soil versus our plant comparisons. Phosphates versus phosphites. So phosphates are essential for plant growth. Phosphites are not essential nutrients, used more as a fungicide to induce the systemic acquired resistance, or SAR, in plants and not a fertilizer. Not a common deficiency seen in plants though. Most growers over-fertilize with phosphorus, to be honest, especially when it gets to the flowering stage. And I have other videos showing you don't need as much phosphorus as many growers typically are adding. Reasons for not over-fertilizing are to keep other nutrients in balance and to maximize your yields, to save money, and limit potential groundwater contamination. Now, potassium deficiency, we're seeing the progression of that. We see that in the sugar leaves at week 4 and the fan leaves at week 4. And then we see the middle part of the canopy really showing the most severe portions. Now, typically it is located a little bit more on the margins of the leaves or the edges of the leaves. And look a little bit more on the ends of the leaves, a little bit more on the end portions, and then the margins
down in Dallas.
So good
Took a
indications
little
of
bit more.
areas
Y'all
to
ought to go
look
check him out
if
on
you're
all
suspecting
50 of his channels.
potassium deficiency.
We got 50
Now,
of them
corrected
too,
potassium
so
deficiency
you know,
is
that's
a
why we
primary
rock
mobile
together.
nutrient. Potassium sulfate would be recommended. You could use potassium chloride or murate of potassium. It does have more potassium, 60% versus only 50, but there are more salt associated with it, so it is used more in outdoor applications where there'd be more natural rain to flush through that. We're just looking at large trucks trying to carry a higher concentration of potassium fertilizer. Some growers recommend wood ash. You can use it, but be careful because it will raise your pH, so use it sparingly because it will bring your pH up dramatically there. Then it brings us to a calcium deficiency. So progression of calcium deficiency starting in the lower fan leaves here in week 3. And then we see a more severe progression, progress I should say, here, going from a normal to kind of more advanced symptoms. Looking at letter C, week 5 is general leaf margin necrosis on lower fan leaves. And then we've got upper fan and sugar leaves starting to show symptoms as well at week 5. And then right next to me, over here, week 6, the majority of fan leaves and sugar leaves show that characteristic leaf margin necrosis, and upper leaves are curled upwards. So again, key distinguishing factors here. So don't just jump to one, look at them all, and really see what signs you're seeing in your leaves and what do they actually match up with. And hopefully you're catching it in the earlier phases rather than later ones. How do you correct a calcium deficiency? It's a secondary immobile nutrient. If you add lime, there is calcium in that product, but not as much of that's plant available, so keep that in mind. A CalMag from Botanicare, I recommend that one, and BioMinCal, I've used them both. I have tissue tests that show CalMag Plus from Botanicare does raise levels. So follow manufacturer recommendations and keep that feed going, and hopefully you'll see a slowdown and then prevention of that deficiency symptoms from their progression. Magnesium deficiency is represented by interveinal chlorosis or yellowing. Here we see week 4 is when it's first starting to appear. Might be a little hard to see, but it's first starting to appear here, and that's through interveinal chlorotic regions. The chlorosis is moving towards the necrotic areas in between the leaflet, midrib, and the margins. We kind of see that where the veins stay really dark green. It's those in-between areas where you're first seeing it. Here we see more advanced week 5. Most of the smaller fan leaves started to show symptoms. And then week 6, the magnesium deficiency was widespread across the entire plant, except for some older and larger fan leaves. So it can be a little spotty. Keep that in mind. How do you correct a magnesium deficiency? Well, it's a secondary mobile nutrient. CalMag has some magnesium in it, but Epsom salts has a higher concentration of magnesium if you're really targeting that. 1 tablespoon per gallon for early onset and foliar applications would be recommended for Epsom salts. A substrate drench and a foliar application would be recommended to try to ensure that that magnesium is going to meet both ways and reduce the duration that your plant remains magnesium deficient. 2 tablespoons per gallon or 2 tablespoons per 3.7 liters for a quick progressing issue, something you want to kind of really suppress as quickly as possible. This substrate is a drench rate because if you apply that to the leaves, you risk the chance of them damaging. It is a high concentration rate. It's only recommended in most severe cases there, but it has been used and there is a chance of burn, but don't go any higher than that would be my recommendation. Now, manganese is different than magnesium. It's basically lacking a flower size. So I know as soon as I say that, most growers are going to think, oh, I have a manganese deficiency. Not necessarily the case. We can see the manganese deficient versus the control for that comparison at week 7. This is the treatment or the manganese deficient, and that's the control. So you can see it is a slight decrease in size, and only really with a good comparison can you really tell the difference between those two images. Now, how do you go about correcting a manganese deficiency? You can use manganese sulfate, often branded as palm tree fertilizer, as you can see right here. I also personally recommend Age Old Grow, again, not sponsored by them, but while the label states it only has 0.05%, remember these are guaranteed minimums. And based on tissue tests, the likely actual concentration is quite high. As I've fed Age Old Grow and I've seen manganese increase in tissue test levels, and it shouldn't at 0.05%. These are guaranteed minimums, so more likely than not, this contains a little bit more than that and can be used to correct manganese and also a good general fertilizer just for general feeding. Leading us to a sulfur deficiency. This is yellowing of the sugar leaves, and this first appears as yellowing in the younger sugar leaves and then progresses upwards and angled upward in canopy fan leaves. We can kind of see that here where they're starting to kind of go from this to a little bit more of that upward angle. The following week, symptoms did not progress in the sugar leaves, rather they progressed in the fan leaves. So we can see that kind of here as interveinal chlorosis, not to be confused with a magnesium deficiency. The most severe and lower canopy fan leaves here, so keep that in mind and look at the distinctive yellowing. It's a very bright yellow coloration, so keep that in mind, but it will be first seen in those upper sugar leaves. So timing is important in catching these early, as any grower should be scouting their plants on a regular basis. Now, how do you go about correcting a sulfur deficiency? Remember, it's a secondary immobile nutrient. Adding elemental sulfur, or sulfuric acid or battery acid will add sulfur, but also drive your pH down dramatically. So these are not recommended. Potassium sulfate, if you need potassium, it also contains some sulfur with it. You could also add gypsum, which will not alter your pH. There's also other sources of sulfur, so you might want to look at those. Some also give you the benefits of other nutrients, such as calcium or nitrogen, so take those into consideration, and hopefully you're identifying this potential issue early. Iron deficiency, so progression to various disparate symptoms here of iron deficiency on the upper and lower canopy tissue throughout the trial. The mild chlorosis on recently developed sugar leaves, we can see here. Week 5, we start to see modeling chlorosis in the central areas of those sugar leaves, located right there. And see, this disappeared in later weeks, so catching it early and then seeing it shift was interesting. Week 6, though, the edge necrosis of the lower fan leaves was evident, and that is key for an iron deficiency. Now, how do you go about correcting an iron deficiency? Well, it's a micro-immobile nutrient, so you don't need much of it. Remember, it's a micro. Plant-available forms are important, as adding iron nails or iron firelings will increase iron, but not necessarily plant-available forms. That's where those chelated forms can be important for this nutrient, so if you can see that on the label, that's great. Biomin iron is another plant-available form. It uses an amino acid to help make that plant available. And you can use ferrous iron sulfate, but in this case, remember, this is highly acidified. It's a pH of 2, so growers need to make corrections to ensure that that ferrous sulfate solution is actually plant available and not doing more harm than good. Now, on my last slide here, I just want to provide you with general deficiency symptoms, so you can kind of refer to this and see sulfur and calcium and nitrogen and magnesium and phosphorus to best match up potentially what you're seeing. Now, keep in mind those calcium and those phosphorus can look very close. I tend to see more calcium deficiencies than phosphorus, but utilize this guide here to visually diagnose your plants, as well to hopefully provide you suggestions for fertilization to reduce the symptoms and to prevent it in the future.
Tobacco, man. I don't know where your all knowledge and
Which parent
information.
are you? In the bustling city of Nutriville, a group of extraordinary individuals has emerged, known far and wide as the Superfood Parents. They are on a mission to transform their families' lives through the power of nutrition, one delicious bite at a time. Meet Chef Larkita Marie, the culinary mastermind behind the Superfood Parents Playbook. With boundless enthusiasm, she welcomes you to embark on a thrilling journey to becoming a true superfood hero. But what exactly does that mean? In Nutriville, superfood parents are everyday heroes. These superfood parents lead the charge for better health, but not with capes. They lead with carrots and whole food fats like avocados. And instead of masks, they lead with mangoes and berries. Fruits and vegetables are the disease-destroying arsenal of heroes. Are you a disease-destroyer superhero for your loved ones? Fruits and veggies fuel the mission of heroes like Veggie Vixen. Are you a Veggie Vixen for your loved ones? Dedicated to ensuring their loved ones thrive on a diet rich in faves, fruits and vegetables. Here's your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to guide your family to superhero status by reaching the highest levels of health and wellness daily. Become a plant-powered titan, a superfood avenger, or even a Face Crusader by earning 5 points for every fruit or vegetable eaten. It's a fun-filled quest where nutrition meets excitement. All of the digital details are at superfoodparents.com for full experience. Superfood Parents has also created workbooks where you'll discover the tools you need for success. These workbooks give you the heroic strategies to craft your grocery list like a seasoned hero, which means you now have a playbook to even track your weekly meals like a true champion. And engage in mind-bending nutritional education with word searches that will keep your family entertained and informed. So, are you ready to join the ranks of the Superfood Parents? Are you prepared to unleash the power of faith and make every meal a heroic endeavor? If so, flip the page of the Superfood Playbook and let's begin your journey to becoming the ultimate superfood hero.
To become a sponsor, just visit superfoodparents.com.
So this is day 3 of the KOV
What up, big
challenge.
brother Bronze? I'm gonna go check him out over there on Most Hated Bronze, Flat
one
Power
of the
God.
things that we're supposed to do is ask a question, and one of the questions I'm interested in is, what do you think about my channel? When I started this channel, I started it, well, for me, I'm a type A personality and I needed to relax. I have some disabilities that are related to stress. And it seems like people like them and watch them. But you guys tell me what you think. Bye.
Mentioning CBD in a social context often receives the odd eye roll or questioning stare when you explain to them where it comes from. CBD a few years ago was on a marketing rampage, giving many people the impression it's a snake oil. Whilst the benefits of CBD are definitely overhyped to some degree, it's definitely not a snake oil. It doesn't stop CBD from being a real active compound with very real potential beneficial effects, and some actual evidence that is behind those effects. Welcome to my Ortiverse. I'm Thomas Hanley, and today we're going to be speaking on the usage of marijuana's CBD by autistic individuals, focusing primarily on lived experience. Unlike our previous video on the positives or potential positives of CBD, today we are going to focus on a few of the negatives. I have used CBD in various forms, from flower to oils to capsules to vapes, so I've got a lot of personal experience with its effects. However, I am not a doctor, nor a psychologist or a medical professional, so please consult them, actual people who have that, on the content of this video, and do not make any choices which could land you in trouble with the law. Although CBD seems like a health supplement, unlike many other health supplements, you would assume that perhaps the effects are just kind of minor, not really consequential. The compounds within the marijuana plant have a lot of active, widespread effects on various nerves within your body connected to this endocannabinoid system. They have potential issues with misuse, real side effects, and a various amount of drug interactions with medicinal compounds, recreational substances, and also mental health disorders. So it's very worth being aware of those. I think its existence as a supplement can give people the impression that its effects aren't too notable. However, too high of a CBD dose can lead to a number of different side effects. We're going to touch on some of those said side effects today, those potential negatives, but generally try to focus on the things that autistic people may need to be a little bit more aware of. Appetite reduction, yes, although it can seem like a very enticing thing for a lot of people, especially if you're on your fitness journey. The thing is, autistic people can often struggle with interoception and a range of different EDs. Interoception being the ability to recognize the bodily signals of hunger or thirst. And CBD has been shown to reduce one's appetite ever so slightly, which may be an issue for those who already find themselves forgetting to eat throughout the day. However, there is a caveat, of course, that sometimes anxiety can actually impact one's appetite too. So some people may experience more hunger due to the anxiety reducing effect of CBD, but it's really dependent on the person, like with many things on this list. Number 2, irritability. Now, some autistic people can have a hard time with anger. For myself, when I get stressed out and overstimulated, I do tend to hinge more on the anxiety side rather than getting angry. It's always been this way for me ever since I was a young boy. When my stress levels increased, I shut down, I stopped talking, and if I end up having a meltdown, it looks more like an extreme panic attack rather than an aggressive outburst. But CBD has been shown to increase irritability for some people. This, in reality, would be more akin to perhaps being a bit snappy with communication, but I think it's worthwhile keeping that in the back of your mind, especially if you have a tendency towards bouts of anger. This may be something which doesn't help that. Fatigue and drowsiness. Indeed. While CBD can be useful for some, reducing anxiety and releasing their energy, for other people it can relax and fatigue them so much that it hinders their day and their energy levels. Autistic people can often have a hard time with our sleep and often need a lot more sleep than average, which can clash with the typical 9 to 5 schedule, particularly in the mornings, getting up in the morning. Taking CBD for anxiety could therefore be additive to a poor sleeping habit and make one more sluggish and unmotivated, especially if they take it in the morning or the afternoon. Weirdly, I found that sometimes that horrible anxiety I feel can be useful in some doses, and removing all of it, just drenching myself in CBD, tends to crush my motivation and energy to get up and do the things that I should be anxious about just a little bit. It's a fine balance for me trying to figure out how to mitigate the useless sort of crippling generalized anxiety, whilst also leaving me with enough cortisol and adrenaline to push me through my daily tasks. So this might be something to be aware of and consider. Everyone's brain is very different, and one positive for one person could be a potential negative for another. Gastrointestinal distress, indeed. GI issues are fairly co-occurring for people who are autistic: irritable bowels, irregularity, acid reflux, stomach aches. CBD has, strangely, the potential for alleviating gut-related symptoms associated with inflammation and pain, but also some potential issues with causing diarrhea, abdominal pain, and nausea, particularly during intake. And as with all of these negatives around cannabinoids, there is a lot more research to be done, and specific areas within that research seem to be fairly spotty. Plus, the research on autistic people is specifically a lot sparser than just general research, so that's another issue. Psychological dependence, yes. You wouldn't think that I would be making a video on CBD and talking about dependence. Now, this is, albeit a little bit of a strange one, but from my own experiences, I found that with regular, routine-like use, I was sort of using it as a crutch for like anything to do with my anxiety. It wasn't that CBD was affecting my anxiety negatively, but when I couldn't dose up during the evening, I found that my regular coping mechanisms that I built up were gone. I found myself having panic attacks and meltdowns a lot more easily in situations when I couldn't have it. When I'm used to a medication or a supplement and its effects, I find myself sort of naturally pushing my limits further due to the support that it's giving me. When using CBD, I was pushing my limits of socializing and work further than what I was able to, because I knew by the time that I got home after my hard day, all that stress, all those difficulties were just kind of mitigated a little bit by a few puffs on my vaporizer and a sweet snack. CBD, from what I've seen, has mixed reviews on whether it causes tolerance or not due to its particular action on the cannabinoid receptors. But from what I've seen, there isn't much support at all for the risks of addiction with just CBD. But psychological dependence is different. I think the important lesson to take away from my experience with CBD is that it shouldn't replace your existing regulation strategies or be used to take on more and more stressful things, such as more work or more things that tax your social and sensory battery. I mean, you could apply this to many things that can support you, of course. You remove them and your life becomes harder, of course, naturally. But it's worth being aware of this trap and use your newfound support with CBD if you are taking it, alongside learning other healthy things that could help. And lastly, one of the most important things to be aware when it comes to CBD, and also the most impactful thing for me, if you do have mental health conditions, especially if they are long-term and fairly severe, you may have been put on 1, 2, or 3 pharmaceuticals to support you. You may still have issues with them and see all the amazing potential positive benefits to CBD. The thing is, CBD has some very real interactions with medications, recreationals, over-the-counters, and of course supplements. CBD can actually double up the side effects of other medications, like drowsiness or fatigue. And it obviously depends on what it's interacting with, but you just have to be very, very aware of this stuff. Like, don't be taking huge doses of CBD before a night out and drinking excessively, or you might end up taking a nap on the pavement or cracking your head on the bar table. CBD can also change and alter the effects of other substances, likely due to the fact CBD is broken down by your liver, like many other compounds, leading to too little or too much of another drug in your body. This is what's called altered concentration. This can lead to other drugs stopping working, or it can amplify the negative side effects of that particular drug. This can and has impacted my own experience with SSRIs and prescribed anxiolytics, so things that reduce anxiety. But be particularly wary of blood thinners, heart rhythm, seizure, and thyroid medications, as those things can have a very high potential risk when used in conjunction with CBD. Please, although it's sold as a supplement, ask your doctor, for God's sake. You may not be aware of it, and it may have some pretty gnarly effects. Bad effects. Dangerous effects. But please do not get me wrong with this video. The amount of potential positives for CBD for autistic people is incredibly encouraging. And if it wasn't for taking medication, I'd imagine I'd still be using it. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out the previous CBD positives video, and potentially check out the THC ones too. There's 2 of them, 3 in total, now 4. Yes, that's how it works. So excuse me, I'm dying. My new streaming commentary channel is up and running. It's called Inside the Autiverse. And if you want to catch up on the new stream clips that are coming out, you can find the link down in the description. If you love what I do and want to support me in creating more videos in the future, the best way that you can do that is by joining my membership for as little as £1 per month. And remember, I am not a doctor, I am not a medical professional, I am not a psychologist, and you shouldn't take this video as encouragement to try anything. Always consult local laws or a medical professional on anything medical related. And yeah. Bro, this CBD got me wavy. Oh yeah, it hit. That CBD be hitting, bro. Where's everyone gone? Oh, hello.
Everybody in New York was calling to get down with Mr. Nice Guy. We met all kinds of customers, like this guy here. He's what we call an enhancement smoker, because he thinks that marijuana makes every activity that much better.
Casa su casa.
Observe.
You're Scarface, right? Yeah. I love Al Pacino, man. Did you ever see Son of a Woman?
Yup.
You ever seen Son of a Woman on weed? That's the way to see it, man. It's just whack.
$60, yo.
Cool, man. I got it. Did you ever see the back of a $20 bill, man?
No, I don't know, yo.
Did you ever see the back of a $20 bill on weed? Oh, there's some weird shit in there, man. There's a dude sitting in the bushes, man. Does he have a gun? I don't know, man. I don't know. What? Red team go. Red team go. It's just some weird shit, man.
Man, fucking crazy, yo.
Oh, that's cool. Thanks, man. Hey, yo, wait. Dude, I'm gonna check out the stars later. It's really trippy. Especially on weed, man.
Give it gas when I'm dipping competition, getting past, living fast, furious, staying on track, never worry when I'm spinning. Last better get in, back, ride from a dog, alphabeted on us, you gon' get it back, never split this pack. Whenever I witness cap, we ain't fucking with your fiction, facts, your conviction lacks. When I get up in my bag, I'ma spend, we ain't tripping off tax, clipping this tag, working on my wish list, cooking this cake, let me flip this stack, you a flash in the pan, while you relax in a can, my team in the pack, this a damn, putting tracks in the sand, pushing my craft to the fan, got the people all clapping their hands, putting cash in my brand, keeping my octane high, my graded premium, not 8-9 or 8-7, and when I run across state line, I'm 9-1, I gun it, clock great time, my time come, disappearing in the dark horizon, way I cut turns, I'm as sharp as diamonds, got them on tilt like a car's alignment, this is raw refinement, not a hard assignment, I'ma give it gas, give it gas, bitch.
Yeah, that was our videos for the day, so ain't nothing left to do but to do what we gotta go do for the day. And y'all already know I got a lot of things I got to do for the day because I still got, this whole project from Senate Golden Seed Company that I'm going to have growing. Shouts out to the autos because, we're going to have 11 different strains from our big bro, Bear Miller. Shouts out to Bear Miller because, Triple B Farms out here doing his thing, sponsoring grows. So, he says your boy autos and genetics. So, I keep them growing and going, and that's how we be sowing. You dig? We'll be doing more on that later, but what I'm saying? That'll probably be most of tomorrow's video. We'll do an update on what we got going on with that. So y'all know to check in. Catch him either on YouTube or Rumble. It's better if you catch him on Rumble because you get the full videos and those actually stay up on Rumble that way. So, YouTube gets weekly. So, hey, catch him on Rumble if you really want to catch the sponsors. And then shout out to everybody else that done popped up in the chat today. Cooking with Love and More. Appreciate, bro. Bronze, most hated flat powered guy out here doing his thing. Appreciate him. Superfood Parents, they always sponsoring some stuff. Go check them out on a regular basis. They got plenty of content for you to catch up on. You dig? Other than that, I will see y'all tomorrow.